So what is inner class? So inner class is class inside the class. Okay. Let's say I am coming here. Say I have employee2 as a class name. So this employee2 class I am setting up the value. So let's say I set it up like this. I say def underscore init. Using the constructor, I am setting three values. I am setting first name, last name, age, and salary. So these three things I am setting up. Four things. So let's say self dot first name equal to fn self dot last name equal to ln self dot age equal to age and self dot salary equal to salary. Apart from this, I'm just showing one method which is display here display name. In display name, let's say I'm just printing self dot first name plus self dot last name. Let's say inside this I am writing one another class. So this is employee class, and inside the employee class I am writing another class which basically gives me the DOB. Let's say DOB is date of birth. So this DOB class again, this time I'm hard coding the values. So I'm say DEF underscore net. And I will be receiving one value for the date. So DD, MM, and YY. One for the year. So employee class, inside the employee class, I am defining this child class. Okay, which is DOB, date of birth. And I'm setting up three values. I'm hard coding these three values for now. I say DD equal to DD. And say self dot MM equal to MM. And then I say self dot YY equal to YY. So there are basically two ways where you can use this, or you can create the object of inner class. Let's say I'm creating one object here. So let's say I am saying let self.dd means date. Okay, self.date, self.d equal to, and I'm creating the object here only. So I will say self.dob. So when I'm creating the constructor, you need to understand this. When I'm calling the constructor of employee2, I'm setting the value of self.db, this class, this instance variable, to be another object of inner child, which is dob. And here also I can have one method. It's a display date. So this display date method is nothing but adding all the values. So let's say you can print it like this. In print self.date, dd, self dot and self dot yy. So this way, let's say here in constructor only, I have created the object of this DOB class. Okay, so let's quickly check this now. So if I create object of employee2, let's say mole equal to employee2, and I need to pass, let's say, how many values? 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's say I'm passing 4 values. I pass 4 values. When I pass these 4 values, mole on a common reference variable, I can access these 4 values plus this method. Which method? Display name. So let's say I'll quickly access the 4 properties. So it's a print amol dot first name print Amol dot last name, print Amol dot age, print Amol dot salary. Along with this, I can access this Amol dot D. Amol dot D is nothing but this Amol dot D is nothing but a object of child class. So this is nothing but a date. So on this date, because you see Amol dot D is nothing but the object of DOB class. So we set that into date. Now this date, the reference variable, which is object, we can access these three properties plus the method. So let's say for example, on this date, I can basically have I can access if I just print Amol.d, I will be getting the date object, DOB object basically. I store that into a date. Well, let's try to print it first. Amol.d. Let's take three parameters are which okay. Let's make it hard coded for now. We'll update in next. Let's say 11. Let's say month is 7 and you have to be 1989. Let's make it hard coded for now and let's try to run this. See, so now I'm getting the object, right? So this Amol.d is basically, see, the object of DOB class. Okay. Now on this, let's say, let's consider this as date. And on this object, I can basically have these three instance variables and one method. So I can say print date dot dd, print date dot and print date dot level. So if you understand this, on this date, on this date, so when I basically created the object of what you say, what is the flow for this program? When I create the object of employee2, these four values are received at the constructor. So these four value here will be received Amol, Rao, age and his salary. And this four value will be set. Along with that four value, I am also creating an object of DOB class. So this object I am sending it to the instance variable self.d. So Amol.d will be the new object of the child class only, which I have created here inside this employee2. So when I say Amol.d, it's basically a object of inner class, which is that. On that, I can access these three properties, which is self.dd, self.mm, and self.yy. Along with this, I can call the display date method also. So I will say for display date. So let's say date dot display date. If you right click and run this, I can clearly see the date also. This is the first way where you can basically access the inner class. This much is clear. Is this clear? Right?
Yes.
Okay. Now let's say you see you have hard coded the values here, right? I just want to remove the hard coded values. So let's say what I will do, I will say program do. I'll just copy paste this. Let's consider this as program 1 for the day. So I'm copy pasting this. let's say for example, you just wanted this value to be not hard coded, so you say and you can say dd dd and yy. So it will be dd here it will be and here it will be yy. So now because you are not having this value hard coded, you should be receiving this value here also. So here it should be dd yy. But to receive it here, where will this come from? So you have to basically pass through the constructor. So here also dd yy. So once you received it to the employee to constructor, you are passing it to the constructor object of DOB. Basically, to the constructor of DOB. Once you pass it over here, you will receive it here. Once you receive it over, you can assign it here. So when you are creating the object this time, okay, when you are creating the object, you need to pass more three values, which are dd, and yy. So now this dd and yy will be received at this constructor. These three values are passed to the inner class object. And when you pass it to the inner class object, constructor of inner class is called, where it receives the three values and it set these three values. Clear? This much is also clear?
It will be two digits for a year, right? Not four. Because you took YY, not four Ys.
It's a variable name, right? I can have anything, right? Yeah.
Okay.
This is a variable name. I can have A also, right?
Okay.
That's not the date object we have created. No? In Python, you can create date object separately. This is just a value, integer I am passing. Okay. I got your concern.
Okay.
We have the separate date object in Python. Okay. We'll look at it before Django. We move to Django. We'll look at it. Okay. Okay. So let's right click and run this. See, now you directly pass it from, then you basically create the parent class object. You pass the values for the child class constructor also. This much is fine.
Yes.
Okay. There's another way to basically access the child class. Okay. Let me quickly check that. So let's say I'm having first name here. I'm also having last name. Hmm. And to the first name and last name. Okay, I'm saying self dot first name equal to first name. Okay, self dot last name. Last name. And I'm not creating the child class object here. Let's have the method just to display the name. So I'm saying display name. And here I'm saying self dot first name equal to first name. Print dot first name plus self dot first name. Next time, what I'm doing here, I'm creating another, let's say, if this much is done, I'm again writing one inner class. Let's say, class is DOB, let's say again. And let's say I'm not, again, just setting up the hard coded values. So let's say, dd, whatever. So self dot dd, dd, let's say, it should be hard coded. Let's not resave this. Okay. Let it be not hard coded. Let's solve the day self dot mm and self dot mm. And then 2 equal to also. On this method only, reference variable you say, you can basically have one more, what you say, display date method. Display date. And this display date method, you are just printing value. So you are just printing self.dd, print self.yy, self.mm, and print self.yy. And you can simply print it in one go. So dd self.mm, self.mm, and then self.yy. Now there's another way you can basically create the object of it. Instead of creating in the constructor, let's say I'm creating the object of employee first. Let's say I'm creating the object of employee. When I am creating the object of employee, I need to pass two values for the first name and last name. Let's say I'm passing it for the first name and I'm passing it for the last name. This is simply creating the object of parent. So let me store it here. Let's say it's in my and okay, let's say it's in my dot. You can say display name. If I right click and run, I will just print the value. Is this fine? Now you need to create the object of DOB, let's say. So what you can do on this reference variable directly, let me create another object, Amol dot, say employee Amol equal to employee 3. And here I can create the another method, which is another instance, which is DOB. So directly on the employee, because it's an inner child, you can create the object like this using dot. So employee 3 values which are required for employee 3 dot DOB and the values which are required for the DOB. Let's say 11, 7, 1989. Okay. So this is 11, this is 7, and this is 1989. So value for the inner class also. Okay. Now this Amol is instance of is object of DOB class. So on Amol now you can access DD. On Amol you can access MM. On Amol you can access YY. And also on Amol you can access display date. If I right click and run this, you will get that value. So this is the another way, right? On the parent on the parent object, and then again dot dob to basically have the child reference variable. Let's consider that inside this child also, you have another class. Let's say you have, let's say I'm creating another class inside the class. So class inside a class inside a class. Let's say I created greet class, let's say, just to greet. And I say I'm just having one reference variable here, which is greet or word hello, word equal to hello. inside the string. So I say word equal to hello, and I want to access this class now. So how I will be doing it? Let's say I'm creating a reference variable that says Harika equal to employee Sarik, because this employee class I need to pass two values, which is, let's say, Sarika and so then first name is Sarika, last name is Pansare. On this, I'm again creating a DOB, because inside this employee 3, I have this DOB as a reference. So I need to pass three values to it to set it up. Let's say, well, 90. And on this, I am setting up the, let's say, on this, I am calling out on the create class. So now this Sarika will be the reference or object of the most inner class, which is grid class. So on Sarika, you can simply access a property which is word. So Sarika dot word. This way you can basically access class inside a class inside a class. You right click, hello will be printed. Okay. This is also clear. This is also clear to everyone.
Yes.
Let's start polymorphism and in. We'll start polymorphism and in inheritance tomorrow. So polymorphism and inheritance tomorrow.
Hello.
Yes.